Hey there, Tamir from Fibonaccis-Traders.com here with the daily market recap for Thursday, November 17th. Let's dig in the charts, let's see what the market brought us today. And it was a very interesting day. If we go back to the hourly chart, we can see SPY open with a gap to the downside and went back up to close it, because we know more than 80% of all gaps will get filled throughout time. This gap got filled intraday, but price action got rejected by the 395 area. This 395 area from support to resistance, and now let's see if bulls can push price above the 395 and close the week above it. Failing to do so, we can assume with high probability that during next week or so this gap here will get filled, which is a good thing, because if we know that more than 80% of all gaps will get filled throughout time, so the sooner the better we can fill this gap and validate a higher low and still hold this short-term uptrend. So keep your eyes on price levels to manage the risk. QQQ, same thing. Let's see the hourly chart. Gap to the downside, went up, closed it, back down, and barely closed above this 285, 284 area. Let's be a little bit more accurate with the Fibonacci. 385 area, support, resistance, resistance, support, now resistance. Let's see if bulls can really hold the week above the 285 area. Failing to do so, next week or so this gap here will get filled. So eyes on price and use levels to manage the risk. Always looking left to identify support and resistance area. IWM did not manage to close the opening gap, so we have a gap to the upside, gap to the downside, doji below the 184 area, support and resistance throughout 2022. So let's see interesting price action with the IWM, which is still in an uptrend. This trend line here helps us identify that in the short term we do have higher lows, we also have higher highs. So let's see if this short-term trend line can hold. Dow Jones, by the way, check the link that will pop just about now on the right corner. Very special video about how I use Fibonacci and why the Fibonacci tools are the only thing that helps us identify future support and resistance for price action. Dow Jones holding above this trend line. This trend line goes all the way back to January 22, to the penny of April 22, to the penny of August 22, and now breaking up above. We do have here this small gap, and this gap needs to get filled also with a small wick, probably during next week. Small wick to the downside, filling this gap, validate this trend line as a support before the next leg up. Dow Jones, strongest of them all, pulling price to the upside, pulling all the market to the upside. So keep your eyes on the Dow Jones. VIX is next. Downtrend line, validation and managing to act as a strong resistance to price action. We can see that during today price went up, got rejected. If we go back to the 1 hour chart, all the way to the upside, got rejected and went back down. So we can see that trend lines are the true support and resistance for price action. We want VIX to continue to the downside and closing this gap here, because VIX does not have any open gaps throughout time. SMH, after a failed breakthrough, this downtrend line is a long-term downtrend line with lower highs, and now these few days trying to break up and above, but each and every time price action gets rejected by this trend line. 211 to the downside is a support that bulls need to hold. This support area was a resistance and support throughout 2022. Failing to hold this gap here will get filled, and the sooner the better. Then bulls can make a higher low and retest this trend line again with more power in their hands. MJ, we are still looking for a break above the 6 area. 570 is holding, 570 looking left, support, resistance, resistance, support. Let's see, a weekly close above the 605 area will trigger a long position. For me at least, this is not an advice for investing or trading. This is only for educational purposes. Net gas, short-term uptrend. We do have this trend line that will act as a strong resistance, but once price will manage to break above this trend line and above the 666, we will go long on Boyle, because we see here Boyle have some kind of a double bottom off the 33 area. 44 strong resistance, double bottom breaking up and above 53, and then 60 will be next. So I hope you find this video helpful. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll see you in the next video.